welcome to the Phoenix Rising Academy League SmaxTalk Podcast. I'm your host, Smax, and tonight I am joined by Insekiro and Malstixy back on the podcast. The trio, we're back, and we're ready to talk about round one of the playoffs and getting into the quarterfinals. We only have 8 teams left in the Academy League playoffs, and we've got a lot to go through. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing well, Smax. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm super great. I just got done playing some Hollow Knight, died at the end, had to backtrack a whole bunch, and I'm excited to get back to that. But for now, we're gonna talk about some League of Legends.
Let's do it, boys.
Hey, what about you, Stixy?
I'm just doing things. I don't know. I don't know.
Doing a podcast.
I'm doing a podcast. Yeah, I am doing that, huh?
True. I think so. I think that's what you're
I don't think
for.
I am. I'm gonna leave.
Oh no! Don't leave the Discord call. It ruins my overlay. But before we get into talking about the games and everything, I do want to make a brief announcement. Starting tomorrow, which is Thursday, March 12th, I am going to be co-streaming the Phoenix Rising Academy League matches on my own personal stream, Twitch TV at /LOL Smax. There's probably gonna be a link to that somewhere in the description or something. You can tune into that, and then you can get the behind the scenes for the analyst desk, which is gonna be pretty fun. It's gonna be me and then whoever else I've got with me on the desk. I know Insekiro is gonna be there tomorrow night. Stixy may or may not be there as well. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun time. If you guys want to have the more analytics side of things during the matches, and you can give us your feedback in that way as well, and we'll just have an open conversation with the Twitch chat as well if people are having a good time there. So I'm really excited to be doing that. It is approved to be happening for the rest of the playoffs as well, unless I'm casting the match. But as of right now, I don't plan on doing that because I think it's going to be pretty fun to just co-stream the analyst desk and do that. So I think that's going to be pretty fun. Do you guys have any shout-outs before we get started here?
I'm excited for the co-stream. I think it's going to be a cool experience. I think the one thing I forgot about was the possible interaction with everyone that's going to stop by. So
yeah,
it'll be cool. It'll be a good time. I'm hoping.
We're also
the utter toxicity of it. You thought it was bad when we talked about it's actually just worse.
Yeah,
tone it down.
Behind the scenes, we definitely express more emotion towards the bad plays.
You get the real hardcore analysis going.
Yeah. Also, if you guys didn't know, there is a way that you can have both open in one window. It's like twitchmulti.com or something. So there might be a link for that kind of thing advertised on the day.
It's multi-twitch.tv.
Yeah, something of that nature. I know LS used to do that pretty frequently when he was co-streaming the Worlds tournament. So look out for something like that as well. But yeah, that's gonna be on my Twitch channel just at the same time as when the Academy games are going on, the best of fives and everything. That's gonna be starting up tomorrow. So be sure to tune into that if you are interested in the real behind the scenes aspect of the analyst desk with myself and these fine gentlemen here. But without further ado, let's get into the first match that we saw from round one, and that was Aether Esports taking on OTA Glacials, the only series that did not end in 3 games, and in fact it went all the way to 5. And I think we played Silver Scrapes, maybe. Be woo woo. If we didn't, then there you go.
I don't remember us. I don't remember it, but
I don't think we did.
Fair, I kind of mute the stream, so.
No, I don't think we did.
I don't know. Maybe that's only a finals thing or something, or it's copyright. In any case,
probably copyrighted.
Probably. In any case, we watched a pretty fun series. We were all there for that one as well, and OTA Glacials narrowly escaped with the victory in the end. Goob could not 1v9 the entire time, only on 2 champions. And once those were banned, OTA Glacials took it home.
I think it's a bigger problem than the fact that OTAG knew he only could play 2 champions and didn't ban them for 2 different games. So,
Yeah, that's true.
was
That's
kind
true.
of big XD in my opinion.
Yeah, and then also another fun fact: Cube never won a game on a champion where he ran teleport on, which is also big oof.
Yeah.
That's true.
So with Darius he ran Ghost, and with Kled he ran Ignite, and yeah,
Everyone
the
else ran
1v9.
teleport.
Yep.
I think the main things you can really take away from this series, though, is that OTAG looked very solid from a 4-man perspective, but there's one more man in that other equation that kind of didn't really exist in basically any of the games, and that was Mr. Klepto Bismo himself.
Yeah.
I don't know what your guys'
Yes.
opinion on him, but he kind of was pretty useless. Even the games he played on Elise, he kind of just was just using Cocoon early, and then they were like winning 4v5 basically,
Yeah,
like later in the
definitely,
game.
definitely a background dancer kind of player playing carry champions, which I expressed it on the desk on the day. I think it would look a lot better if he was playing tanks. And
Yeah.
I wish we saw that a little bit from him, but they did get the W in the end. And yeah, he contributed positively, I think, in the most part, but there were definitely some negative lights, especially in the games that they lost. Game one in particular, not looking the greatest, especially when Magnum is playing Sejuani in that game, and they have that going for them on Aether's side. Um,
I think
Speaking of Aether,
Magnum's just
though, yeah, Magnum
I
was
think Magnum
was much the same, I think, to Klepto Bismol, but they also had a consistently underperforming bot lane, I would say, in the entire series, which is
you're
really
Yeah.
talking
rough
about
to
Ether
see.
here.
Yes.
And Aether. Yeah.
Yeah,
For
in my
sure.
opinion, I think actually Magnum played much more difficult to track, difficult to play around than Klepto, at least, because I felt like Klepto kind of was just like rolling over after 10 minutes.
From the
Like
opponent's side, you mean? Like difficult to play
yeah,
around? Yeah, I gotcha.
yeah, because like it felt like at least Magnum was going for like correct plays, even if he wasn't on like the best champions for those plays,
Mm.
or like he was at least trying to do what he could do. Like he wasn't really falling behind. He kind of just lost to the other four people on OTAG because, in my opinion, Klepto just looked lost. It's like watching a newborn trying to path in the jungle. It's like if you guys know that one psychological experiment where the rat has to like
Navigate the
try to find
maze.
it, yeah, navigate the maze, right? But like Klepto is like that, but like on the rat's first try, where he has no idea
He
where he's
got
going
five
and he's hitting.
tries.
He had 5 tries and he looked lost in almost every one of them.
Yeah,
Oh
it
man.
was definitely not a good showing from Klepto, and I know we're gonna get into it later or in a little bit, but like going into the into his next round's games, he is in for a challenge in the jungle, and I think if he doesn't smarten up, he is going to have a bad time.
Yeah. The tanks won't even save him at that point.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, to be fair, I think their round matchup for Akuba Katanas is just like it's a nail in the coffin already. Like, in my opinion, Katanas is the only lane that they're not better than OTAG is, and is probably bot lane. But
Yeah.
just in that they don't
the
carry through bot,
yeah,
I would say.
they don't really play through bot most of the time. But the good thing about Katana's bot lane, the best thing arguably, is how they absorb pressure, how their pressure sponges down there,
Yeah.
right? Which works exactly in the favor against OTAG, because that's how OTAG plays for
Right.
bot lane.
Yeah.
So
That's how they did
it,
play against Aether as well, and it made
yeah,
Aether look really rough in the bot lane. Curry looked like he was getting really desperate in a lot of the situations, especially the Nautilus and the Hook
and Thresh
champions.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Nautilus and the Thresh. There were a number of instances. I remember when you, Justin, were like, "Watch this. Curry's gonna dive in for a hook, and then they're gonna lose the fight." And then
And
what
then they do.
happens? But Curry,
He just walks forward, goes fishes for a hook.
I'm
He
going
hits
in.
it. Yeah, oh
Yeah,
man.
I
He misses.
I noticed it when we played them in the regular season, and it seemed like every time Aether like got behind and like OTA were pushing up into their base, like Curry got desperate to make a play. Like he's like, okay, we need to make a stand here, or like we lose the game. Granted, that's probably like what would have happened if they didn't do anything, but I think it was very much like I need to do something now and like that might have not been communicated to the rest of his team. So like, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna look for something, and by the time he's going for the play, he's either dead already and the fight's over before it started, or he's too far away or disjointed with his team to actually forge that engage that helps Aether come back into the game.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? That every time he makes that like the last stand hook desperation play, it's always when they're at inhib, right before they lose the tower. It's right at inhib. They're holding the wave there. The enemy team can't push in, and he just walks forward and throws the hook. It's like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah,
Like it's
they're
one
really
thing. It's one thing if you're Thresh, where you don't have to like follow the hook, right? You can kind of just hook and then walk backwards. But if you're playing Nautilus or like Leona, like you don't have a stop. You know what I mean? Like,
especially if you
Yeah,
hit a wall.
Yep.
Then it's a little bit more desperate situation than Thresh as well.
I had a lot more expectations for Aether's bot lane going into this series, and it just looked like I'm pretty sure they lost like every lane except for one game. It felt, and I think it was game 3 or 4. I think it was game 4. Where I felt that like Caliber and Curry were doing okay and like won themselves a lane. It just seems like Atenio and Merc just like had their number like all series long, and
I agree.
like Merc was like beautiful on the Thresh. And
yeah, well, Caliber
just really outperformed.
Caliburn
Caliburn
drafted
seemed-
himself Ashe twice and Senna twice.
Yeah.
When up
I
until that
I
point
don't
he was
understand that
the
either.
Aphelios guy.
Yeah, he was the I'm playing to play late game carry. Like I'm your late game insurance.
Yeah.
And every game he played that series, he did not play like late game insurance.
No, not at all. He didn't get Aphelios a single time.
Which is fine. I'm personally I'm of the opinion that you can actually easily counter Aphelios now. And now that he's not so broken and with his repeated nerfs, including the patch their next patch.
Yeah, I think
right?
it's on a new patch now where they did nerf him again.
Yeah.
But
the thing though, right, is if you're drafting yourself champions like Ashe or Senna or stuff, you're playing to enhance your team, right? Which is fine, especially when you want to play through top lane because it's a new guy. You want to play to him so he doesn't get mental booms or anything like that because he's the new guy. To my knowledge, this was his very first competitive split.
Yeah.
And to be fair, he kind of filled in. I mean, he did his job correctly, but it seemed like the void that Papi Chulo left was a little bit too wide.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially like after game 1, I would agree. Like, all right, yeah, pick Ashe. Yeah, that makes sense. After watching that game, Goob's just gonna pop off. After game 2 hits, that's when you turn it around and you're like, all right, this is a little bit of a coin flip. It seems. Let's not throw all the eggs into that basket, and let's not pick Ashe again. What does he do? He picks Ashe again, and then proceeds to pick support Senna twice. With a Thresh and a Nautilus.
Can we just talk about how terrible fasting Senna with Thresh is? Like,
it's very bad.
He built first item Iceborne Gauntlet. Like, hello?
It's very bad. It's so reliant on like it doesn't deal damage.
Exactly.
Tom Kench deals damage.
Tom Kench deals damage. Volibear deals damage. Tarek deals damage. Like,
and those are just the support champions.
Those are support champions. Like,
Thresh doesn't.
There's so many champions that actually do damage with only their base damage. But Thresh's damage is uniquely based on his flay auto attack and his souls, right? And his hook, right?
Yeah.
What part of that is guaranteed damage besides the flay auto, which is only once every 10 plus seconds? You know?
Yeah. It's pretty long cooldown on that. It's just a really rough situation. Like I don't think they put enough time into the pick to really grasp what it's all about and why it is like as good as it is. And they're just like, oh, C9 picked Senna and a support, and Curry's best champion as a support is Thresh. All right, let's put this together and see if it works. And maybe it did work, but at that point, I'm sure that OTAG's bot lane had played against it, seen it, and maybe played it themselves as well. You at that point, you know, okay, this is just very inefficient. Like this is not how this champion works. Senna as a champion works way better with a melee in the bot lane as well, because then you can line the Q through your champion and hit theirs as well. So then at that point, you're healing yourself, your ally, and you're damaging an enemy. It's an instant Nami W. And that's like the worst that it can be. It's also a wave clear tool. It can hit more than that as well. It hits turrets. Like I'm just
Clutch
ranting on
souls.
about how good Senna is at this point, but you get the idea.
I mean,
if you have a
to be fair,
melee,
though-
then it's way better.
To be fair, though, Aether may have misread the meta a little bit, but at least it's not as bad as Imperial Knights. Oh man,
Was that
I don't
even
mean- I don't
misreading
wanna-
the meta? Let's get
Yeah,
to
I
them
mean,
later. Let's get to them
We'll
later.
get to them later.
My thoughts on like their bot lane picks in general was like, yeah, it kind of feels bad that Caliburn drafted himself Ashe 2 games, and even then, like the 2 Ashe games he played were pretty underwhelming. I don't feel like he utilized Ashe arrows well at all. If you're going to be enhancing your team, like mid game Ashe arrows is where you want to look for picks to help your team like get picks and start fights off. But it didn't seem like they did it. The arrows either came after the fight had already started, or just throwing it out there like to kind of catch out whoever.
Yeah.
It didn't seem they were proactively looking for Ashe arrows. And then the Senna game, the Senna games were pretty underwhelming as well, pairing it with Thresh Nautilus, and then like the 5th game where Curry just kept dying over and over again because he couldn't walk up to contest CS, and then in turn Senna was getting actually starved.
Yeah.
To be fair, though,
that's starving
actually,
Senna. That's not fasting Senna.
Yeah. To be fair, though, AP Nautilus with Senna is actually really good. It's not good when you get hooked 3 times before level 3.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did he even
rough.
build AP? He might
Yes.
have. Okay, yeah.
No, he built tank. He built tank. Tank.
Okay.
But he was
that's
already
probably why I
0-3.
didn't think he did.
He was already 0-3 by the time he even got his first component item. So it's kind of hard to commit to AP Nautilus at that point. But in general, fasting Senna with Nautilus does.
Yeah, because he's a carry at that point. It's
Yeah.
like mid lane Nautilus. So
It's like mid lane.
because then you
Yep.
actually get wave clear. Like all right, I think it's time. I have been playing Silas with it. I've been playing that a lot.
Good, Smax.
It's
What's Senna?
actually good.
Smax.
It's actually good.
It's
What's-
not,
You're
man.
playing it with Senna.
Better than Thresh.
Okay, it's better than Thresh, but that's like you're reaching down, man. There's
I am not
there's
reaching.
literally-
I have.
There's
I'm
30. There's 30 more champions that are
I'm
better.
at
than
I'm at like
Senna.
80+% win rate with it.
I think you're at like 50% with me.
Okay, well, maybe you're just bad at Senna.
Come on.
I mean, I can see the argument of putting like a carry, like an actual carry down in the ball lane with Senna.
It works,
Right, because it kind of fills the same purpose, and we were like ourselves we were thinking about putting like maybe we put Syndra, or like maybe we put like an actual like mage down in the bot lane with Senna.
Aatrox works too.
Yeah, so I can see the argument for that, and I think like if you like obviously you can't play like a tank like a enchanter support tank whatever, but I can see the argument of putting a carry down there with Senna because you're kind of doing the same purpose, right? Like you're farming and you're helping Senna harass the enemy to get her souls, right? And helping Senna get her souls off the minions she doesn't collect.
Yeah.
That you collect, right? So I can see it. I mean, if it's working for you, obviously
It is working.
there's something there, right?
It's pretty
So-
good. The only downside is that the carry that you put with Senna doesn't get levels. So you want a champion that is pretty high functioning on
With
low
no level.
level, which I think Silas actually is for the most part. I think people are
Yeah.
really neglecting the power of Qmax on Silas. It deals so much damage, actually. Like hitting someone with both parts of the Q will deal like 400 damage if you have 3 points in it and no AP. Actually, just so much.
Yeah, but it's a lot harder to hit, so it's a lot.
Now when you
more
have Glacial Senna.
unreliable. That is true.
Yeah, and you
But-
root them with the Senna, and then you land both parts of the Silas Q, and then they're just dead.
Well, the reason why Silas's go W max anyways is they're usually into it like they're not usually into a melee matchup, but they can usually like all in an opponent like by themselves to stand it up and then walk away from the trade. But in like I guess in an AD lane where you're kind of getting ranged harassed all the time, you don't really have that luxury. So then
You
have
and
to
you have
kinda
the Senna
farm with
healing
Q.
you too.
Yeah.
So you don't need the healing for the W as much, and you can just go for damage because you have more reliable slow and stun or snare, I guess. And you have the healing from the Senna too. So then you can go Qmax, and not only that, you hit your item spike way before ADs do because yours costs 2,500 and theirs costs 3,600.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even if you're not getting the same amount of CS, you're still going to hit your item before they do. So
Not to mention, Senna scales up way faster already
Yeah.
at that point.
Senna's crazy. I think
Senna's crazy.
Senna's probably just carrying my Sylas in the bot lane for the most part, and giving me a reason to do it. But I like Sylas, and I'm gonna keep doing it until they nerf it maybe next patch. I'm still gonna try it, but if it turns out to be terrible, then I'm gonna stop. But anyway, that's my. Thanks for indulging me for my Sylas bot lane.
This is my TED talk.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming to my TED.
Thanks for your listening.
Yeah. Tune in next week for Callista Veigar in the bot lane, where
Oh,
I will
man.
I will
Don't
be
get me
taking you through
started.
that.
Don't get me
Dude.
started on that champion, okay? If
I've
I-
been pushing for Callista Veigar.
Can anyone tell me?
I've been
Oh.
pushing for Callista Veigar for 4 months, by the way.
If
Is
I
it for
if I
Cosmic
see
Gate?
another Callista top lane, I'm actually just I'm done playing League of Legends.
Okay,
For
so-
the next little bit.
All right, well we're already too deep into this. Callista Veigar bot lane is all so. Both of these champions are actually quite good right now. We agree?
Yes.
Yes.
In the bot lane,
Unfortunately.
paired together, they work really, really well. So Veigar's the farming champion, and Callista runs the support item.
What?
Yeah.
I
What?
hate this game.
I
hate
hate this already.
I
Smack.
hate this
Come
game.
on.
I don't like this.
You can
I
do
don't
it the
want
other way around if you want to, where
This is a
Veigar
bad TED talk.
Veigar can take the relic shield and you can have Callista farm, but I think it's better if Veigar farms because then he's stacking his passive. I think it's better that way. You can do it either way, but they actually have so much synergy with each other. So Veigar is he's very vulnerable, right? Especially when his cage is down. He gets a free QSS escape with Callista ulti, and then you can throw him back
Level
in.
6.
Yeah. And then you throw him back in, and they're in the air long enough where Veigar can drop the stun, and they're just stunned after they land, and they're locked there for 4 seconds.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Starting to see it.
I'm starting to see it.
Yeah.
I'm still not.
But I mean, if
Also-
a Veigar gets engaged on right after he blows cage, then you don't have cage for when you throw yourself back in.
Yeah. So it's multifaceted, right? You can do it in many different ways.
Okay.
It's
alright.
very high damage. It's also very high risk. You can get blown up very easily. I've tried it a bunch of times.
You're kind of already playing Callista with a freaking Veigar, man.
Yeah, but they can only exhaust one of you. So
I mean, technically, no, because there's been a new strat recently.
we're both violent
Exhaust
stick
is
exhaust.
good.
Yeah, I've been saying
Yes.
that too. It's actually pretty
Oh,
good.
baby.
It's
Yeah,
better than
I'm-
Ignite. As long as you if you're struggle getting onto them, it's better than Ignite.
Yeah, I think
I'm-
exhaust is actually pretty nuts. Okay,
I'm
we're
done seeing.
We're getting
Callista.
way too
far
deep.
off topic.
Let's go back into OTA versus Aether, where we were before. So OTA advancing, like we said, the bot lane the jungle not looking amazing. Bot lane definitely popping off. But the major problem for me does not actually stem from Klepto for OTA, because I think he's just consistently a support for his team, which is fine. You just have to know how to make that work for your team. Like he's
Just
not
can't
gonna
play
he's not gonna
carries.
pop off, right? But if you put him on something like Zac, then it'll work out. Or like Sejuani. I think they just need to focus his champion pool a little bit more, and he will actually look really good. However, the major point of trouble for me is actually their solo lanes. I think Axum and Nutty played very inconsistently in the series across all the games.
Yeah, I can
Um,
agree.
It's not just a one-stop thing where like, oh yeah, Goob's just incredible. Goob just like 1v9'd. A lot of that's just because Axum didn't really respect the champions he was playing, and like he got outskilled in those matchups because Goob was just better than him with those champions. And I think if that happens in the series against Coronavirus and Akuma Katanas as a whole, I think that's going to happen not 2 games out of 5, 5 games out of 5. I think that's going to happen to Axum. So
I mean, to be fair though, like I think if we're talking about the parallels between Goop and coronavirus, I think coronavirus is Goop, but without the bad champion.
yeah,
You
exactly.
know, I think it's almost to that extent where you could even blow all 5 bans on him and he would still pull out a new champion.
Yeah, he's got the Griffin effect in the top lane. Same
He's
thing.
good.
It's very
Except
good.
Griffin does look worse when he does have 5 bans on.
I don't think so. I think his Gragas still looks really good.
I can.
You just gotta make sure he doesn't pick Trundle
with that.
or like a tank.
No Trundle.
Yeah.
No Trundles in chat, please.
Trundle.
So,
yeah,
yeah.
I think I agree with that. Axum, well, has been known as a pretty coin flippy player. And kind of showed that series. I didn't really see him impact a lot from top lane.
Right.
Nutty as well. I think his best games were on Akali.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
And that's pretty much it. Like he popped off
think-
the 2 games on Akali, and I think that's all I kind of saw. The bright spots for the team. From him. Other than that, the rest of the series was just Atinio and Merc.
Yeah, and
I feel like Axum had a pretty good game on Ornn, and they had okay game in the game after on Ornn as well.
Yeah, and
Or
that
he
might be
kinda
Ornn
manhandled.
effect, but
That might be Ornn effect, true.
but yeah,
Yeah.
on the flip side for Nutty, I think the most consistently good player for Aether was Yaji. I think Yaji
Oh, for sure.
I think
Yeah,
Yaji looked
for sure.
good in all 5 games,
Yeah, I agree.
and
I
he was
think
playing
it's
different
actually kinda
champions
funny.
too. So
I actually think it's kind of funny because no one I wouldn't even put Yaj in conversation of like he's probably one of the best players if Papachulo's. Because like you would say, oh Curry, oh Caliburn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right? It was everyone would say bot lane right before in regular season. But wow, Yaji looked great.
Yeah.
Actually. Like
I
I told him after the series, like he did like we talked about it before. It's like you have to step up when your main carry Papachulo leaves, right? And even though I'm pretty sure bot lane stepped down quite a few steps actually, I do think that Yaji stepped up.
Yeah.
So
without thinking about it too hard, I think from round 1, I would put Yaji as a singular player in the top 5. Without thinking about it too much.
In top 20? You mean?
No, of the players that played in round 1 and based on that weeks of games,
Oh, based on those
exclusively,
players?
I would put Yaji in the top 5 of performances from that week.
See that. I could definitely see that.
He definitely played his heart out. I think that series. I think he played a Yasuo game, right? Like
Yeah,
yes,
he did.
He played
That
Yasuo.
game,
He played Nico, Lissandra. I think he had 2 other unique champions as well. They're escaping me for now, but the Nico Yasuo were really stand out to me.
He played Cass as well.
Oh yeah, true.
He played Corky as well.
Yep.
Corky.
So that was the 5.
I don't agree with his Corky pick.
He looked fine on it, I think.
But he did look fine on it, but I don't think it was like I guess the best option.
Yeah, I don't think that champion's great. But
to be fair though, I don't think any of the games was his fault for losing.
No, I think he played solid games despite losing. I think he had good games all around, even in the losses.
Yeah. But yeah,
which is like really sad to see when Caliburn and Curry, who were also expected to just kind of be that rock in the bot lane, crumble.
They were very consistent.
And it's just like I'm not saying that Yaji wasn't a good player like to begin with, but like Yaji tried to 1v9 some games and it didn't work out. It was really sad to see.
It really was. I was happy to see his performance, but it was a real shame that they didn't have Papachulo and their bot lane was really struggling with Caliburn's champion choices and playstyle differences from when he actually looked really good, and Curry's just desperation moves at all stages of the game, just really thinking like, I am the highest rated player. I have to win the game. Papachulo is gone, which makes me the carry.
My time to shine.
It's my time.
Time, boys.
I will go in with the Nautilus hook, even though my team is 8,000 gold behind. This will be the pick. Then he dives into 5 people and immediately dies, and then OTAG's like, cool. And then they take the inhibitor. and then they're just like...
There was actually a time where Klepto threw a cocoon and he just flashed right into it trying to engage.
Yeah.
I was like, huh?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
That was like, oh man.
That's
Yeah.
just tragedy. That's just tragic.
Yeah. So yeah, F in the chat for Aether. I would have liked to see them advance further, especially with Papichulo, but
I think with Papi Chulo, they actually 3-1 OTAG.
maybe it's a what if at this point.
True.
But
Yeah.
yeah. Wait, we'll talk about that about at the end maybe. But yeah, let's move over to the match that OTA Glacials have advanced toward, which is Akuma Katanas and ouch.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Oh boy. We all
Yeah.
talked about it. I think so. I think it's either going to be a 3-0 or a 3-1. I want to say 3-1 because I'm friends with some people on OTAG, on OTAG. But my brain is telling me 3-0. So this is going to be a rough one.
Are we
I
going to
definitely-
predictions right now? Because I'm also 3-0.
I think this one is going to be the least closest of all the series.
It's
this
real.
week.
I'm so
It's
sad
going to
about
be
it.
a 3-0. I'm sorry, boys. As much as I want to believe that like Daniel Merck gave like 2
Nutty
games this game,
9.
Nutty 9 is never getting a quali game after this series.
It's such a bad matchup for them.
And if he does,
It's actually just the worst.
It's
actually just the worst.
Oh,
It's such a bad
hard lose
matchup
top
for
lane,
them.
They hard lose top lane. They hard lose jungle. At best, it's an even in the mid lane, right?
And then they get stuffed out bot.
yes. They just get out.
I actually think they lose mid too. I think Aaron's super good.
No. I say at best, like even because like even if Nutty has his best game,
Klexo could be playing a support champion, right?
True. We could see the bard mid.
And then
I've been hearing some rumors.
If it's even, then that's still bad for Nutty. If Klexo's on support. So
all I'm saying is that Doubtful is gonna have a field day with Klepto.
I think it's just gonna be all 5 of them.
I
feel really weird about this because of course my power rankings I had this as my finals matchup. I can't blame Akuma Katanas for picking that.
They do have the best matchup with them, to be fair.
Yeah, I think their matchup is really good against them, and this is the only winner that had to play all 5 games, right? Everyone else 3-0'd, so you can't really blame them for that. And they could have chosen anyone, right? Because Jet Black and TFT didn't make it, so they could have had their choice of the litter, but they just went with the statistically shakiest team, and I can't fault them for that. Definitely makes a lot of sense. I'm talking as if like they're taking my opinion on what I want the finals to be into account. They just want the best matchup for them. So
they're just giving us the show early.
Yeah. And it's gonna be a show. I think it's a really tough matchup. Again, I still think that Akuma Katanas are the best team in the tournament by far. And this is the only team that I think would just demolish OTA. And
To
I
my
think it's gonna
knowledge,
happen.
To my knowledge, Essentia would have to. Whoever is the winner of the Essentia match, right, would also have to play Katanas, correct?
For what reason?
For finals? Like
Essentia original?
For semis. I mean, for semis.
It's dynamic seeding, but
how
yeah.
does
So
dynamic seeding work for semis? Could you?
Akuma would just get to pick their next opponent too.
Okay, and then
Katanas, that is.
Yeah, Katana. You know it's the worst part. I think that I can actually see it because we can talk about it a little bit later, but the Ascension matchup between them and Original, whoever wins, I think Katana's just picked them, and they're in finals.
That's what we thought about the original Imperial series too.
Yeah,
I mean, Katana's could have still picked Original. Like it wasn't even that. Original didn't look leaps and bounds over Imperial names, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah, that'll be 4th. But yeah, for this first match, I think there's not too much more else to say. OTA, hopefully you can make it interesting. I think it's gonna be pretty interesting to see Katanas just decimate OTA though. Anyway, so that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be on Saturday. So be sure to tune in for Smax's official power ranking finals in the quarterfinals. Yeah, Yeah.
Good luck, boys.
Good luck, OTA. You're gonna.
Good
need
luck,
it.
OTA. I don't think Katana's needs their luck.
No, I don't think so either. But with that, let's move over to our next round 1 match, which was Soulbound Tsunami taking on Team Fish Taco Supreme, and they didn't get Heimerdinger. 3-0.
Ever.
Kind
Yes,
of weird how that works.
On that note, Soulbound is kind of snake for not giving him Heimerdinger ever.
Actually,
and then
though,
taking Heimerdinger
yeah.
game 2.
The
You-
team
you
with
know-
that much confidence.
Come
You'd think.
on.
You know what's so funny though? Why is Suzuki picking Scion? It's a terrible champion. man.
So in the Ashes division, when he picked Scion in his last week, he looked decent on it. He looked pretty good. He
Yep,
piloted it pretty well. It worked well with the team.
Wasn't
in
he
the Trashers
against?
division, Smile.
I'm pretty sure he was against Sir Rizel though.
Yeah,
he not?
He was
On
the
that
two gold top
stipulation.
laners. The 2 gold top laners in the Trashers division.
On that stipulation, he never faced anyone that wasn't above gold. So until now. So I thought he played a decent Scion in his division.
It was against Sir
and I
Rizel,
think-
man. You can't.
And I think
Yeah.
that the reasoning for him picking Scion is, it's comfort, right? He can pilot it pretty well. Unfortunately, he couldn't pilot it well against Elvis.
Yep.
To be fair, Elvis actually looks really. This game.
He actually did.
I mean,
He actually
to be
looked really
fair,
good.
though, he was playing against a gold player. So
Elvis was kind of like a little back and forth for me this series. I think Soulbound.
really,
I don't know,
I actually think he was the MVP of his team.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree, but I think Soulbound as a whole dragged this series on longer than it should have. That's all I'm gonna.
I mean, to be fair, they kind of trolled games 2 and 3 and still won,
They
really
did.
hard.
They did,
Yeah.
but it didn't make a good case to themselves as that they're just a massively strong team, and it really puts me in a weird place of my thoughts about them moving forward. Are they just a Giga Smurf team that they can just flex on everyone and just flex their players everywhere, pick all these different picks? Are they gonna get more serious come quarterfinals, or are they actually just gonna keep the same stuff that they're doing
I
going
want
into
them to keep
quarterfinals
what
and
they're doing.
Yeah.
just try to outskill their opponents because they think they can outskill their opponents?
So here's the thing about Soulbound Tsunami. They their last match that they lost was a
Gotcha.
forfeit to Lost Collective Gladiators. And
No, that was not Gladiators. That was Avengers.
Was it
or
Avengers?
Avengers, excuse me. They lost a forfeit to LC Avengers in week 3. Since then, including playoffs, regular season, and the tiebreaker, they are on a 12-game win streak.
Okay.
And
I think they only have one other actual loss where they lost.
yeah,
Like
they
their Nexus
haven't
flooded-
they haven't needed to do anything
Okay.
in any of
that's
those
fair.
games.
I just
Our-
feel like against a team like Team Fish Tacos, not disrespecting them or anything, but with the way that they were playing, I felt like Soulbound should have just 20-minute games. For
Yeah.
Oh,
Which-
I'm sure they would have if they weren't trolling. But
Yeah, I think that they just
picked
haven't-
Vayne and they're picking.
I think they just haven't been trying, to be completely
Exactly.
honest.
That is fair. Well, if they want the answer to the question, when does this league get harder? I think
This
this
is the
league's
first
starting
match.
to get harder. Yep.
Yeah, this is going to be the first genuinely very good player that they play against.
Did you say
And even-
player intentionally sleeping out the rest of the team?
Of course I did.
Griffin?
Of
No.
course we did. Of course.
All right. Okay. I see you.
To be fair, I think the story of how this game for their matchup is going to be working out against Lost Collective Gladiators here is Griffin going to be unleashed or is he not? Or is he going to be leashed? Right? And leashed by who? You can figure that out for yourself. But it's definitely, if Griffin does pop off, I think it's going to be very hard for Soulbound to stop him because he is a rampage player, and in the sense of he will keep going until the game's done, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
But I do think that Soulbound actually matches up very well everywhere else on the. I think they have, if not even, they have winning matchups everywhere, and they seem to have fallen into this into the standard format of Elvis in the top lane, and then they have Best Turtle in the jungle. They have Steel City playing mid. Then they have North and Core Havoc. But it seems like North is kind of like he's kind of like playing Fasting Senna in the sense of like he's really the support for his.
Yeah. And I think Korhak's a pretty good carry.
Yeah, I think he is too.
I think that the other person in that bot lane on tomorrow is not a very good carry.
Yes.
So
Hey guys, more news at 11. Ezreal not the best AD carry.
it's
So
no
my thoughts, I
secret.
think-
It's no secret that in round one, of all the 12 teams, I thought that he was the worst player to make it to playoffs. He still is.
Oof.
He still is.
I'm not gonna say worst player because that's pretty rude, but
That's flame. That's
Oh,
flame.
that's pretty
okay.
flaming.
Well,
I'll say he's
You know
by
what?
far the worst AD carry though.
The least performing player. There you go.
He's just the bait, guys.
just the bait. He's just the bait.
Just- That's why he picks Vayne, right? To be the bait.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So my thoughts on that matchup is on the matchups top to bottom. I think actually AFK is gonna match fine into Elvis. I think
Probably.
freaking Griffin will probably out jungle / match up well into Best Turtle.
Yep.
I think Echidna, if he's not on a roaming champion, is going to have a hard time against Steel City Warrior.
Probably.
I
Yep.
think
Steel City
and then
plays
I
the
think-
roamers too.
He does.
and I think Ezreal and Applause might just get hard dummied by North and Core Havoc
Yeah.
if
Yep.
Ezreal has not figured out how to position as an AD carry.
The thing is though that like the thing is though is that the only way that LCG I feel like they win, right, is they play through Griffin for sure, and then it kind of interchanges. Whether that's between Applause and Echidna, or Echidna and Echidna and AFK, or AFK and Applause, right? But the problem is you still have this problem where you still have that the as Smax put it on Analyst Desk one day, the rock in the ocean. So he's the boulder.
The boulder.
It's
Yeah.
I do not. I'm going to be predicting 3-1 Soulbound.
Okay.
Interesting.
I am going 3-2 Lost Collective. And the reason that I am saying this is because Lost Collective has side selection for the odd games, and I think the games that they are on red side, they are going to win. Because it is much harder to abuse and gank bot lane on red side. Because you're less inclined to go for the Drake when you're a blue team, and you're the ones with the tri-brush as well. So it's a lot easier to gank the bot lane if they're on blue side because there's not that giant wall chunk. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I think first of all, Lost Collective, pick red side, guys. It'll work. Because it seems like to me that the benefits of Soulbound being on blue side aren't really going to be felt because blue side benefits are mostly just about power picks and getting what's really strong in the meta. It doesn't feel like Soulbound's about that at all. It feels like Soulbound's just picking comfort and they will just try to beat you with what they know how to play. So I think the benefit of being on blue is not going to matter for Soulbound Tsunami. So pick red, then you get counter pick in mid or top, which is very good, and your bot lane is less exploitable. So I think if that happens, then I think my prediction is going to be that, which is 3-2 for Lost Collective. And I think they. Do I think they're smart enough to do that? Maybe. If you're listening, please do that because I think it's a really good idea, guys. Please do that. Please take my advice. It'll help you out a lot because not only is it easier to not get ganked in the bot lane if you're on red side, it's the dives are a lot harder because you have that one brush that they put in this season by the blue buff, the wall. You just ward that, and then you see them coming, and they can't actually gank you and dive you. So
You know what's the weird part too is that I also think that on red side that Yumi is like not as good, but only because of the fact that like this is also in conjunction with I think that Ezreal is not the carry you really want to be like enabling, you know what I mean? Like of course you're picking Yumi for Griffin, ideally, right, if he's on his whole offer,
Yes.
right? But I think that the way that it works is kind of really not good for their team, so it almost makes Yumi comps impossible to play.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I personally feel that if you need to put applause on something that will prevent or at least like make it so that Ezreal has a harder time inting.
Yeah. Even if it's not
if you
because
guys if you guys
yeah.
watch the tiebreaker between Go Next and
Lost
Lost Collective
Collective, yeah.
Gladiators,
that was
I'm pretty sure
bot diff.
I'm
Yes.
pretty sure I saw Yumi come out and tank hooks for Ezreal because if Ezreal
That's true.
because if Ezreal got hooked, they were both dead anyways.
It's
So
true.
You might as well just
It's
give
actually
up
true.
the blood.
Oh
Seawolf did really good
yeah.
in that game, by the way.
Yeah,
Shout out
Seawolf's
Seawolf.
Blitzcrank was kind of nuts.
Shout out Seawolf. But yes, that did happen. Not how that's supposed to go, by the way.
No, I think they thought that you could get hooked and then immediately try to come back onto Ezreal with Yubi, but
You can't do that.
that's not how it works anymore.
You can't.
Shockingly,
Yeah, you can't do that. But yeah, I think that is going to be a lot better for them. Also, I think Kai'Sa and Ezreal are actually, like I said before, I think these are the two premier ADs in the meta right now. Oh wait, no, that's not happening
that's
yet.
next batch.
That's next
batch.
batch. When Senna and
Next
Aphelios,
batch.
sorry, not going to be true for tomorrow. Disregard that. If you
False
see
alarm,
Ezreal
everyone.
pick Aphelios, I don't know if Red Side's even going to save him.
It might be at that point. It might be on terms of the Imperial Knights original.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Of
I
just
do think though that Kai'Sa and Ezreal are quite good. I think they are both top 5 ADs right now.
This is blasphemy from the never pick Kai'Sa in my league again.
Hold
You
on a
better hope-
second.
You
I
better
know.
hope our
Settle
resident
down there,
AD is
bucko.
fired to
They
death.
just buffed
Is he
Kai'Sa,
listening?
and they keep nerfing the champions that are good against her. Okay, she's actually good now. As long as you don't go the stupid ass Stormrazor build, which is the worst thing.
Papega.
Just
This
go.
is Triple F's time to shine.
Yeah, but he didn't make playoffs.
Fortunately.
Guess who was right about that
Unlucky.
too? Anyway,
Max is
yeah, I
just
think
thinking
Kai'Sa's
very
actually pretty
close.
good. You just need to be building the right stuff, and you need to scale, and I think it's actually pretty good. So, if you're a Kai'Sa player out there, maybe Ezreal's a Kai'Sa player. I don't know. I feel like if he is, he would have already picked it to spite me because I don't think he likes me very much. You know.
I mean, considering you call him a boulder, I think he would.
I am very outspoken about how I think he is not very good at the game. So I wouldn't blame him too much if he doesn't like me.
You know,
I don't
what,
dislike
though?
him personally or anything. I don't know anything
Yeah.
about him other than he's not very good at League of Legends.
You know what's funny though is I think that Lost Collective Gladiators would have looked so much better if the Lost Collective Avengers stuff didn't happen.
Yeah, but we
Because-
can't talk about that guy. He cheated. So
He cheated.
Bad
Let-
Abdo.
yeah,
Bad.
let's not bring up the cheaters.
Bad.
But yeah, I'm gonna go with 3-2 for Lost Collective. What about you, Darren?
I'm also gonna go 3-2 Lost Collective.
Oh my God! I swayed you.
I think Griffin is too nutty of a player to where like he will never go down like without a fight, and just playing against him, like this guy just finds just like the weirdest plays that you just would never think of to like bring him back into the game, even if you're even with him. Like he'll play to try and stomp you, but if you end up trying to be even with him, even in like the tiebreaker against Gonex, he was always constantly looking for those plays, and they were kind of winning some.
Yeah, they got the Drake Soul in that game, right?
Yeah.
Then
Yeah,
they
they
lost
did.
anyway.
So
They,
but
they lost with Olaf Yumi. They lost with Ocean Soul.
Okay, well that's just because bot diff was like giga, like
Seawolf,
giga diff.
Seawolf was really, really good, but
Yeah.
at that point you are not supposed to lose with Olaf Yumi.
I think
But it's
Soulbound's-
actually impossible to lose.
Yeah,
I think Soulbound's unique
All I'll
way of
say is,
drafting, and
if that was me on the Yumi, we would have won that game. Me and Griffin have a special connection with those champions. If you guys haven't seen the clip, I'll have to show it to you. If you're listening to this right now and you haven't seen the clip of me and Griffin playing Olaf Yumi, I'll DM it to you if you ask me. It's really funny. Griffin, I'll just explain it right now. It's like 40 seconds of us playing that, and Griffin's just like, I'm outplaying them, I'm outplaying them, I'm outplaying them, and we just keep running them down, and we run into their fountain.
Good champions.
But anyway, yeah, those two picks are pretty good. If you're not picking those champions and prioritizing those champions, and the other team is, you're gonna lose. So.
Yep.
I
think Soulbound's unique way of drafting and playing the game will probably net them a couple games.
Yeah.
That's all I think I'm getting from them, though. I don't think I think Griffin's gonna want to be 9.
Yep.
I think as long as they they just sit Ezreal down, okay, and they're like, look, okay, don't die in lane, okay, don't int, and just stay behind me. Don't even think about frontlining, and I will win you the game. Then,
yep.
I can see Lost Collective winning it.
I think they're going to as well.
I just bot lane needs to just hold themselves together for a few laning phases, and just let enable Griffin, enable the rest of the team, play around the rest of the team, play around just the mastermind genius jungle that he is, and I think Lost Collective will win this series. But I don't think that's without saying that Soulbound will probably take a couple of games due to their playstyle.
Yeah,
I think that
we're split up.
I think that actually though, you could definitely see LCG winning. I just definitely think it's gonna be 3-1 match score. I'm very confident on that, actually.
On either side, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I definitely don't agree, but I mean, I just don't agree. I think whoever's on red side in an ideal world will win. It's not ideal though, by any stretch of the imagination.
It's hard to talk ideal when we're playing in a Diamond League.
Yeah, you know, that's how it goes. Yeah, we'll have to see. I think is this the first prediction that we've been split on?
Yeah, pretty split. Yeah.
Yes.
I think so. In terms of who wins, I think.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't see Soulbound really winning the series.
Yeah. I don't know. I think both of these players are Katana's fodder.
Yes.
I think 7 of the 8 teams are Katana's fodder though. So
it's just Katana's
and one team is Katana's.
Yeah. So you're fighting for second place, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of Akuma here, let's jump over to Akuma Scythes and their match against Jet Black, another 3-0, one of 3 of them from round 1. This one though was certainly the closest of the 3-0s. And a lot of that is just because to be completely honest, Akuma Scythes bot lane got solo killed by JB Emma 3 times in a row.
Don't laugh. Don't laugh.
No laughing. No smiling.
Don't laugh. No smiling.
That happened in 3 out of 3 games. JB Emma got first blood against Akuma Scythes.
Early bot diff. What can I say?
And
yeah, I guess JB Emma is just the
she's transcendent.
Just the best support. She's truly transcendent. I agree.
After that Leona Baron steal, just a newfound wave of energy. Just
she's not angry. She's just motivated.
I think it's just seethed in her the entire split long because she had that Soraka triple kill too, and then Leona Baron steal and all of this, and she got to playoffs as well. So yeah, I don't know, man. JB Emma, gotta watch out. And Akuma Scythes didn't really in the bot lane. And game 1, they almost lost because of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think as everyone said, this game, even though it was a 3-0, it was not a close 3-0. The only actual stomp game was game 3, which you could argue is just due to mental boomage, probably. But it's actually just so like weird to be like, wow, this was a 3-0, because for the most part, it looked like in the first game, the Jet Black had such a dominant early game, right? And then they started losing team fights because they started misplaying it. Like, for all things considered, they probably should have won that game. Like, if you stopped watching, you would have said Jet Black.
Yeah.
Right? And then the second game, it was the reverse, where, like, instead of having a good early game, which Akuma Sites had, the Jet Black had a much better late game, which is so weird.
They didn't put them
It
together.
flip-flopped. They didn't put them together, unfortunately. So it just was so weird. Like, there were so many and despite like what we're saying like this, it wasn't all Jet Black, because Akuma Sice was throwing really hard in the first game, in their early game. Like,
Yeah.
it was terrible. Like, Shaden in a winning matchup was down 40 CS. Like,
Bad Shaden.
And then on top of that, then like in the second game when they played Gragas Yasuo, what was Gragas doing? Oh my god.
I've never
That
seen
was really
Malstixy
rough.
more tilted at a jungler, and I've played Master Yi with him.
I don't think that.
No,
I'm
got
pretty
so
sure
told I stopped talking to you.
he's been tilted at a few junglers in my day. I don't know if Kaz got the full flamage, but you guys just have to wait and see on the co-stream of the Analyst Desk, twitch.tv/LostMax, starting up this week.
Pog.
Yeah.
Smiley.
Then you'll get to hear Malstixy's big jungle flame. But anyway.
Smile.
Yeah. Kaz on Gragas. Not great.
Didn't cut it.
Yeah.
For me, that series felt like it was like the more and more stuff that didn't go Jet Black's way, the more and more tilted they got. And then game 3 just kind of culminated into, all right, we solo killed Akuma's bot lane again, but we're losing everywhere else, and now it's doomed. And,
yeah. Something that is very interesting about this series, and if you know me, then you know that just means this is about to be something that I predicted and said exactly what would happen, and it did happen. Something that's very interesting about this series is that every game, Cam ganked all 3 lanes just for fun, and didn't gank the same lane over and over to punish the flashes that he blew. It happened all 3 games. Weird how I said that this is exactly what he does. And when it works, they win.
Weird flex.
Kind of strange that that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, for my team, it was always the question of like, all right, we just believe this guy's flash, but like, we wait 5 minutes and nothing happens.
Yeah,
and we're like,
that's what
guys,
Cam. That's what Cam does.
This guy has a flash down, guys. Like,
because he tries to gank
every.
He tries to gank every single lane, which is just not an effective way to jungle, ever.
In solo queue it is. What do you mean? That's the only way to jungle.
I disagree, actually. Have you ever been... Okay, let me paint this picture for you. You are Hishinshin, and you are in the top lane, and you're having a great time. You're playing Aatrox. You have your signature 1 CS lead. Everything's going great. The enemy jungler arrives. He gets your flash, and you're like, ah, man, the jungler came. Where's my jungler? Ah, he's on his own gromp. Ah. Junglers these days. You're like, all right, well, he left. I'm going to go back to getting my 1 CS lead again. He's back. He arrives yet again to kill me. Oh, no. I'm dead on Aatrox. I teleport back to lane. All right, it's okay. It's all right. I'm only 2 CS down. I can get back and get 3 more, so then I'm at my 1 CS lead. Guess what? Back. The jungler's here again.
He returns.
I'm now 0-2-0 as Hishinshin. No teleport on Aatrox, and I only have a rejuvenation bead. What do you do?
Imagine Smax next patch.
You just lose the game.
How much worse that gets.
You just lose the game there, right? What do? You don't do anything. You're like, all right, I hope my team's good. And then
sit there and Giga Flame your jungler for 10-15 minutes until the enemy team decides to run it down.
But the other jungler just won the game for them by ganking the same lane 3 times. That's what you're supposed to do. You get the flash of your laner, and then you gank that lane again. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I know.
Cam
I
doesn't
mean,
do
yeah.
that.
It's just I agree with you in the sense, and especially in competitive though, where
Yeah.
ganks are less and less common.
Right, of course,
Because
of course.
it's definitely more so favored to the fact that you should just gank one lane over and over again because it's easier to blow sums once
Yeah,
and
that's
then
why
constantly
lane
blow it.
rotations are a thing, right? Because
Yeah.
you gank bot lane twice, you blow their flash with the first one, you kill them with the second one, you take like 3 turret plates, you get the Drake. All right, cool.
Now
Now our
you
bot lane's
rotate
ahead.
top
Now
lane,
you rotate top
Barbara
lane,
Herald,
you
got
dive
two more
that
3-1
guy,
plates.
and you kill that guy too. You get the exactly. I mean, it's just an endless cycle of the jungler just staying with that one lane, except they just rotate it so then they have pressure across all the map. That's exactly why they do that, because it's more effective just gank one set of players. And yeah, like the best teams will have that synergy and be able to do it with all 3 lanes so that they're not predictable. But at a level like this, it's totally fine to just do that with one lane all the time. And they're just like, I'm Cam and I'm really, really good at ganking for Hiccup. And so I'm going to gank Hiccup and make sure that that works. And then now, as Cam and Hiccup, we're 2-0. We're going to go bot lane and then get the Drake. Like, that's a way better strategy, and they just didn't do it. But I think I'm
Yeah.
talking a little bit too much about Jet Black after they got 0-3'd.
The
So
concept of punishing blown summoners to junglers is a simple concept, yet a foreign one
perhaps
to most.
to Cam especially. Not I'm not I'm again I'm
True,
not saying that
that's
Cam is a bad player. His ganks do work more often than not. I just wish that he would do it more efficiently. So
fair.
there's
That's fair.
always something to improve on. So that's my main takeaway for Cam. It's to my knowledge that Jet Black is not sticking together, apart from the E couple, of course. So
The
Rip
dynamic duo. What do you mean?
R.I.P. JB.
yeah, they'll be back. Don't
Unlucky.
worry, they'll be back with 3 new players,
Unlucky
as
in the
usual.
ducky.
True.
But yeah, well, let's touch on Akuma Size now, because they are playing against Go Next Gaming on Sunday in a best of 5, and this is a team now with Ace Ties as well. It's even more so. I know you weren't here last split, Malstixy, but the bot lane duo of Doctor and Indigo and the top laner at the time, now mid laner Ace Ties, did get 4-0'd by Go Next Gaming in the last split.
4-0'd?
Yes, they lost the tiebreaker,
Okay,
and
okay, I
then
was gonna
and
say.
then they got 3-0'd in their 3rd place match.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know how Akuma Size is gonna do on this one. I'm not gonna lie. I get that. I think Ace of Ties had a good series against Jet Black. I think he was their most consistent player. Um, but yeah, that's kind of all. Their bot lane looked really shaky against Jet Black, and I just don't know
In the early game.
if in the early game. Yeah, I think they picked it up come mid late game.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can afford to be shaky against Kiwi and Seawolf
Right.
in this series.
That's actually
Um,
funny because I think that I would I actually think it's more Kuma's favored. Actually, I think
In the bot lane, you mean?
um yes, actually, the thing is, I think that with champions coming into the meta like Ezreal, really fit more of the playstyle of uh Indigo, who wants to be more mobile and more like almost solo carry ish, where like his support's roaming around, which definitely does suit Doctor more than it does Seawolf. And I think that ultimately it's going to be the tale of two bot lane in general.
yeah, I can see it.
I think it's pretty close in the
Um,
bot lane, yeah. I think there's arguments for both sides, especially after watching what Seawolf did to Lost Collective on Blitzcrank. Whew, that was kind of
yeah,
nice. That was kind
I'm
of
a little
nice.
bit more inclined towards go next spot lane for this series. Because I think Kiwi with his return has made a statement to say the least.
Whether or not it's a
Yeah.
smart one is up for debate.
But he certainly made a statement.
But it is a loud
Um,
one.
this series I'm looking the most forward to. I think this will be the closest one aside from Lost Collective and Soulbound, but I think it can also be a 3-2 in either direction. to either one of these teams, and that's why I think that's going to be the closest.
It's gonna be pretty
Because
sick.
I have no idea where this series can go. It can go anywhere.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
in my perspective here, all season long, I've been seeing the decline of one bad boy B-Way. He is
Yep.
not acclimated to the top lane meta very well. He doesn't play the tanks. He doesn't really play Mordekaiser, and not really Aatrox either. It's not really his style. Um, the Irelia, though, is back.
Just got buffed.
Irelia is back, ladies and gentlemen. People are rushing Blade of the Ruined King on Irelia, and you should be scared, because when Irelia hits a stun on you when she has Blade of the Ruined King, she will then Q you, auto you twice, and then Q you again. And for those of you counting at home, that is 4 procs of 12% of your current health, which is
Yeah.
half.
OP.
That is 48, which we can round up to 50, alongside the rest of the damage from those abilities. So,
Yeah.
in about a second and a half, you are at half HP, no matter how much health you have, because that's how Blade of the Ruined King works.
If not dead already.
You could possibly just be dead.
Yep.
And that's how Irelia is going to work. And I've been talking to B-Way about it. He is doing that, and I've been seeing a lot of other people doing it as well. I think that Irelia is back into the meta with that. Not only just her, though. A lot of other champions are abusing the Blade of the Ruined King. Jax and Fiora in particular. Renekton as well. And
Yep.
if you're a top laner, you aren't jumping on that train. You might want to do that pretty soon, because that's happening. And also, this won't be in effect for this series, but the Death's Dance change is coming in too, and that's going to be the most broken item in the entire game if it goes through how they had it planned before, which we can get into a little bit later. But yeah, if you haven't seen the Death's Dance changes that are coming, you should go ahead and look, because it's going to be good. It's going to be buildable on half the cast of League of Legends, and it's just really good.
I love this game sometimes. I
Goodbye,
love the balanced
tanks.
team.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's the balance.
B-Way's back.
Yeah. Don't you guys? I don't know if B-Way's back, man. Come on. Let's not get too far
His
ahead of
champion pool's
ourselves.
back.
Is one champ? Yeah, sure. Is one champ's back next patch?
It's still back right now, too.
It's still back technically,
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I think Shaden's so good, and
Shaden's
I
really
think that
good.
I think that B-Way is not even close to his level at current timing.
On paper, based on how we've seen, I would agree. Yes, I think.
Yep.
Even if B-Way like super pops off, it's gonna be hard to top Shaden, because I think he's been so consistent for Scythes, and I've been really impressed with his gameplay and everything on that team. I think he's been the most consistent player for them, outside of Indigo in the late game, of course. And yeah, I'm really excited for that. I think that top lane matchup is gonna be really cool, really dynamic, especially if B-Way's in form. If not, then it might just be Shaden running him over. We'll have to see. But I don't think B-Way's that kind of player for the most part. The main thing that I think is going to be very one-sided is jungle, and it's for Go Next.
Yep, I would agree.
Depending, because are they gonna field some carry or are they gonna field Kaz?
I suppose
we can
that's a good question, but they played Kaz in the entire Jet Black series and the games leading up to it.
So, assuming it's Kaz, I think the champion that's going to actually be the most impactful this series is going to be Zachary. It's going to be Mr. Zach himself. He needs the suit, but it's definitely Bichon and Kaz are both great Zach players, and they both have higher prio on him. And depending on who gets it, I could see them winning the game.
Mm-hmm.
True. Yep. I think Bichon's Lee Sin is also something that shouldn't be overlooked.
And Talia.
I think he's and Talia. But I'm more impressed by his Lee Sin.
Yep.
I think he's very scary on that champion, and he ganks a lot, and he's very creative with that champion. So I think that's going to be one thing to look over this series if he doesn't get Zach.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be really tough for Kaz to maneuver in this series against Bishan. I think Bishan is very good. Yeah, I think it's gonna be really tough just in general for the sides to manage the early game in general because of Bishan's priority and willingness to make these plays for Go Next to get them off the ground. Um, Another interesting thing in this matchup is the mid lane because
Yeah.
we have very limited information for both of these teams from their mid laners. Ace Ties has played 3 games for Size in the mid, and Messiah has played 2 for Go Next in the mid. So
I personally think Messiah will be not much harder, but I think a harder matchup for Ace of Ties in the mid lane.
yeah,
Um,
Ace Ties looked really good against Hiccup
yeah.
though,
He did look good against Hiccup,
especially as
and
Zoe.
granted Hiccup had a decent series, all things considered, but I think Messiah will probably be a harder matchup for Ace of Ties. So it's all, I think for Ace of Ties it's all gonna be about obviously not inting in lane and playing better with his team.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just kind of the opinion that I'm gonna have to give it off. I think it actually could be super wildcardy. We saw
Mhm.
Ace of Ties playing super standard, standard mid lane champion. He didn't actually look that bad, but I think, and that was only with like 2, maybe 3 weeks of role swap time, to my knowledge, right? And each week is going to be stronger, right? So like you can actually look at this way of like we haven't even really seen the full potential of Ace of Ties mid.
Right.
But on top of that, you have to assume because he was a top laner before, he can play those top lane champions. And we do know that there are some top lane champions that are very disgusting in mid lane,
Like
namely like your Renekton.
Malkai.
Oh, yeah, Smile. Bjergsen, right? Burger song.
He did play Aurelia this week too, and he looked
He
really
did.
good in it.
Oh my
Maybe
goodness.
Bjergsen should just be a top laner.
True. He should just pick Maokai.
Maybe we should
Yeah.
just stop picking Zillion.
He's really good
But
at it.
that's just my
He's
personal
really good,
opinion.
Zillion, man.
He's
I know,
really good at
and
it.
I'm
It's kinda
pissed
scary.
because C9 lost to it.
I'm pissed about it too, actually.
I'm mad every time. Like, oh,
I'm a TSM fan
Bjergsen's-
and a Cloud9 fan, but I was really excited to see Cloud9 go undefeated. And it's shattered.
I'm just a C9 fan. Bjergsen makes me angry. When he plays
I've got
Zillion.
a TSM hoodie on the ground right there, and I've got a C9 mug on my desk right there.
Nice.
Got 2 C9 hoodies. Ha!
Nice.
I got 0, so.
Wow. Fake fan.
Shoot, he beats us all.
Yeah.
I'd get a T1 jersey, man. Holy shit.
Those look super clean, not gonna lie.
I know.
Yeah, I think the mid lane is going to be a pretty big
Point
I
of
don't know what to call
contention.
it. There you go. Point of contention this series, especially with jungle attention. I think the mid laner that gets the most jungle attention will bleed out to the rest of the lanes. Given that that other lane states are relatively even. So I think the mid laner that gets ahead through their jungle, or I guess by themselves, will decide most of the games.
All right. Well, we've been beating around the bush too long. Let's get into our predictions. I've been holding it off because I still am a little bit unsure what I'm going to say in the next sentence, but we're going to stick to it on the desk as well on Sunday. So,
Yeah.
I
I want to go last because I'm still thinking.
You want to go last? I was going to go last.
Oh,
All right. Well,
guys.
I guess it's Darryn going first then.
Oh, come on, man! I don't even know my answer yet. I've been.
All right.
Okay, I said this would be a 3-2 on either side, but I think it's gonna be 3-2 Go Next.
Okay.
I want to say.
I think Bishan will have better showings than Kaz will in the jungle, and ultimately, I think Bishan will decide the games that Go Next wins, and I think that's gonna be most of them out of the 5-game series.
Okay.
But I can definitely see with Shaden being really good and Akumasai's teamwork like pretty good given that Ace of Ties is in the mid lane. And they're constantly improving. I think I can see Akuma making the series really close. Like I don't think it'll be a stomp in either direction. But I think Go Next will edge out Akuma.
All right.
I'll actually kind of rebuttal that because I actually think it's gonna be because I think I've got my prediction down now.
Okay.
I think I'm actually gonna go 3-2 Akuma.
Okay.
Mostly my reasoning is that like I do think that they've seemed to have hit their stride again recently, whereas it seems like to me right now, Go Next is a very weird point because in general they seem to just be struggling a little bit in the sense of like what their identity really is. It seems like they're 5 individual players and not one team, you know? Because it seems like Bichon is kind of doing what he's doing well, and Kiwi and Seawolf doing what they're doing well, and they got Messiah now. But the bigger problem is that I don't think the current form of Bennett it really helps them at all. I think that he's one of, if not the worst top laner that's in playoffs right now.
Mm.
Even with Aurelia buffs.
Yeah.
Because you're not blind picking Aurelia. You're not.
He does, but
He does?
yes.
And then if he does,
Probably
it's
will.
banned, right? It's banned the next game.
probably.
So, like, I think you're riding a lot on. I think a lot of people are riding a lot on Go Next, whereas I think that Kuma Sites will end up edging out. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased because I'm part of Akuma, so
Well, I
You
mean,
used to be on the sides.
I used to be on the sites.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I am also going with 3-2 for Akuma sides. I
Okay.
am
boys.
I am confident that Bad Boy B-Way is going to look good, and I think that top lane matchup is going to be super entertaining and super close. So I think that that's not going to be the reason that Akuma wins, as I usually don't think that Shaden is the carry. I don't think that he will. I don't think that he will stomp that matchup in a way that like Goob did against OTAG. I don't think that's really Shaden's style. I think he mostly just will mitigate the power of B-Way. Um, but the reason that I think that Akuma Size will take it is because, well, there's 2 of them. First one, I think that once Messiah is off of Syndra, and I think that Ace Ties is going to steal Syndra away from him. I think that once Messiah is off of Syndra, it's going to look a lot worse for Go Next, because that's all he's played so far. I think that's going to be a really big thing, and I think that Ace Ties of Syndra is also really good, so that's going to be a really big power pick, like the Zac is for the jungle. Other thing is Indigo diff. I think Indigo wins Akuma more games than Kiwi does for Go Next by a lot. I
I'm
think.
still shocked that a coach
Okay.
I know put Kiwi as top 4 player.
I think Kiwi's mechanics are really good, so I can't fault
That-
him for that too much. But I think
I mean, I
Indigo's
agree that his mechanics are good. I just don't
Yeah.
think he's a top 4 player.
I think Indigos are better. I think Indigo's best champion from last split, which is Kaisa, is back. I think that Kaisa is quite good, and I think his Ezreal is also really good. Um, I think they can play the fasting Senna. I would like to see that. I would like to see Doctor play like some champion he's really good at, and just kind of pop off in that bot lane. I hope that they're practicing that because I think that'd be
Well,
really cool.
they
I'm a-
played Senna Pantheon last week, right?
Yeah,
They did
exactly.
play Senna Pantheon.
That
Remember,
exactly
That looked
could be
good.
a thing.
That looked
I
good.
just don't want to see a Senna Pike. I just don't want to see a Senna Pike.
I would love
That's
to see
gonna
the
be
Senna
all-
Pantheon again, and I hope that they don't get solo killed like by Seawolf, like they did against Emma.
I
Because
think they'll get punished way harder if they do get soul killed.
honestly,
Yeah.
after they did get solo killed by JB Emma, they went like 507 or something like that.
They didn't get mad. They just got motivated.
Exactly, yeah. After the 3rd time, they're just like, all right,
Um,
no more party. This is business, and then they just
Yeah.
smacked them. So yeah, I would love to see that. I think that would be really good for them. I don't think that would be a good strategy for Kiwi and Seawolf. So I think that Akuma has the edge in that way, and I think that Indigo also has a pretty big edge in that his champion pool is pretty well catered to this meta. So that's my take here. I think Indigo is just really good. I think he's the best player in this match, and
Wow, you're calling the Indigo Def already.
yeah, I'm calling the
Indigo
Indigo diff. I should have called it in their game against Wolfpack, because that's what it was.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't remember what I called. Oh yeah, I called Fluke Diff, but Fluke wasn't even in that game. Or wait, was he? No, he was.
No, he was.
He was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was. Never mind.
He just didn't come in and start
Yeah,
playing
yeah.
until after the
Right.
until playoffs.
Right. Anyway, yeah, that's my take here. I'm going with Akuma Saez as well.
So it seems like me and Sam
Alright.
here are aligned.
Indeed.
Sorry, boys.
It's okay. I prefer it this way. Then we actually have, you know,
I'm not
someone
apologizing.
to
I'm not
point to and flame
apologizing.
once I'm right.
I'm not apologizing to you, Smax. I'm apologizing to Joker and the rest of the side.
Oh man. All right.
I might receive some hot flame after this thing goes live.
You might. Anyway, let's move over to the final team that is advancing, which is Original Esports. And I'm just gonna cut right to the chase. Original didn't even get to play League of Legends in their series.
They
Imperial
played Pro Draft
Knights-
Simulator.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they played Pro Draft Simulator and they won all three. Imperial Knights turns out are very bad at that game, and they didn't really get to play the game. We can't even really comment on what Original did in the series because it's just the exact same as to what they've been doing in all of their games that they've won, which is
I still
Draft
think
Rumble, Jarvan, Shen/Set, Misfortune, and then insert support here, and then win by team fighting. That's exactly how they won all three games and all of the games that they won regular season 2. Like there's nothing else to talk about for Original, and there's nothing to talk about in this series in particular because Imperial just drafted Urgot mid. Why?
Well, the one-
with full AD against Oren Braum.
Full auto attacking AD. I mean, if you guys listening in were present for the analyst desk, you already know. You already know.
That was some of the worst. Like Tea Time has said it on other drafts about like, oh man, that was the worst draft I've ever seen. And I've done some bad drafts. Like that was even worse, man.
They couldn't have been worse. I think the only way that could have been worse is if they had a fifth auto attacking support. But they were already pretty close because they had Thresh, so they were already pretty close to that.
Yeah.
That's the only way it could have been worse. Like if their support was Senna or something.
The one takeaway I took from this series is that Original is really good at playing what they know, and they were.
That's not a takeaway. They already did that.
I mean, it's a solidification then.
I guess
they solidified.
I already solidified that.
Are very good at playing what they know, and if you're just gonna give them their bread and butter comp, then they will just run you over with it.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, do we have anything else to say about that series? I certainly don't.
Not at all. I think, if anything, it's just really hard to gauge Original's strength going into this next series because of the amount of games that were just lost in draft alone.
The one thing I want to really talk about against Original, despite like the we're seeing some player dip between Imperial Knights and stuff like that, and draft dip for sure, but not one draft really actually attacked them as players. Like there's champions that do really well into team fight cookie cutter comps, right? They were not drafted by Imperial Knights.
Nope.
But when you're going to be playing against a good coach, whether that's going to be maybe Tea Time, it could be Goose or any of the other better good coaches in the league, will draft champions that will just shit on team fight cookie cutter comps. And you will just lose every game because that's the only thing you've shown any prowess on Original. And that's my only worry about it, guys.
Yep. And yeah. All right. We're done talking about that series. The Ultimate Crab Rave.
Oh yeah, crab please.
We're there. Okay. Let's get to their series against Essentia Storm, which I'm also kind of dreading. But
I think that like I'm gonna say it right here. That's gonna be the least fun match to watch out of every other one. The other ones are gonna be fun, entertaining. Essentia Storm Original is going to be the most boring. Stop. It may be stop. It doesn't matter. It's gonna be a boring match regardless.
Oh man.
Because the way they play and the way they match up together and the way they play,
man. It's just NA
very
RAM.
boring.
That's what it's gonna be.
It's NA RAM. It's just macro players, and it's like there's no upset part of it. You know what I mean? Like there's no winning for them because it's just like
whoever wins this faces katanas and loses.
Yes, This is the worst. Like this is like you are whoever wins this one. It's like it's a short lived because you're gonna get katana'd.
But
Congratulations.
whoever wins
Strong
this
like
one,
Nippon Steel.
whoever wins this one guarantees semifinals and at least a third place match,
True.
which is insane. Whoever wins this match, we are going to be seeing it 2 more times after that.
So essentially, you're saying they're fighting for third place.
No, that's
is
not what
you're
I'm saying. I'm saying
What do you
that
mean?
whoever wins this one, we get to see 2 more times. And I think it's going to be Essentia.
I think it's
And-
gonna be Essentia as well.
Same.
I
I
think it's going to again be a pro draft simulator. And because Essentia knows, I hope. So there's 2 scenarios, right? If they know what to ban against original, then they're gonna smash the series. If they don't, then original is going to win another 3 games the same exact way that they've won the last 12 games that they've won. Weird.
I'm not even of that. I'm not even of that manner. I just think that like you don't even have to have any bans against original because you know exactly what they'll play. Like it is
Yeah.
not a secret.
I mean,
what they're
even if
gonna
you
play.
ban the champ,
Yeah.
like just ban the champions they're comfortable on, they're still gonna play the same stuff. It's just gonna be less effective. Like the Jarvan,
Exactly.
if you ban that
Yeah.
from Georgedale Jungle, it's gonna look
He's gonna
really
play Sejuani.
rough.
He's gonna play Sejuani.
Yeah, and I think his Jarvan's really good also, so you should probably ban that anyway. And it's kind of the only champion that he looks stellar on too, so just ban that. Probably ban the Rumble, and probably ban the Misfortune too, because she didn't get nerfed, and she fits that so well, like better than other ADs too. So
Hey guys, the team fight team likes to pick Rumble, MS, and Jarvan. Who would have thought?
and Braum and Set.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Wow.
Kinda
Crazy.
crazy. You do have to
And
be careful that Kalandini is going to pick Veigar after that. So that's the only thing. You have to have a counter to Veigar if you're going to ban the Rumble.
Yeah.
If you're not banning Rumble because you don't want to play against the Veigar, that's fine. Just leave the Rumble up. You can counter the Rumble instead because he's going to pick that. Like it's such a telegraphed draft from them because they've done it every single game. They've won 14 total games and all of them have been exactly the same. And I've been saying it for weeks now, and I'm getting tired of it.
People aren't listening, Smax.
I know. I don't know. It's not like I'm just the only person who's right about anything. That's not true. But I haven't even seen anyone try it against them, which really
I just can't. I can't wait until they just play like something really like that shits on team fight comps against original, and then watching them crumble.
Yeah.
Like I think that
they're
like
gonna
they
get
pick like Ezreal something. Ezreal.
Ezreal Tarek with a Mordekaiser top lane and a Gragas in the jungle.
Yeah, exactly. And they just lose. Like no matter what original plays or how they play,
Yeah.
they just lose because
Gragas Yasuo. There you go. That's the comp.
They play Gragas Yasuo, Ezreal Braum or Ezreal
Tarek. So then
Ezreal Tarek.
Then you can't get team fight on.
Yeah.
So yeah, the composition against original. These are the 5 champions that will beat original every time. Mordekaiser, Gragas, Yasuo, Ezreal, Tarek. If you draft that, you win. Congratulations.
At tea time. At tea time.
Yep.
At
Tea time.
tea
If you're
time.
listening, those are the
Take your
champions for you,
hopes.
and your players already play them. That's the best
Shocking.
part. And if Laxon's in, you can sub out the Tarek with Galio, and it's the exact same thing. All right, we won the game for you. Congratulations.
There you go. You're welcome.
If you're
You can
original
take it
listening
easy.
in, maybe try playing another playstyle so that doesn't happen to you.
Which I think won't happen.
It won't happen, but
Unless they've been just been super sandbagging and being like, yeah, we're just winning all these games with these team fight comps, and just in scrims they're just practicing these different playstyles, which will then get brought out in playoffs. But
Yep.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah, 3-0 Essentia is my prediction. If original somehow has another playstyle, then they're gonna get reverse swept. That's the meme answer, obviously, because Essentia Storm got reverse swept last playoffs. I don't think it's gonna happen again. I think Essentia is gonna go 3-0, and then promptly lose to Akuma Katanas.
Yep, 3-0 for me.
It's gonna be
Essentia.
it's gonna be a 3-0 only because the original can only play one way.
Yep.
And I hope the original boys do well because they seemed like nice guys when we talked to them for an interview. But
I can't speak French, but I think they were nice.
yeah. Ryan told me that they're saying was good stuff.
Yeah.
They weren't.
No, I know. I'm just memeing. I love those guys. The French family. There's also this ongoing meme between me and them where if I predict against them, then they win, and if I predict for them, then they lose. So.
Oh, so you're actually predicting for them this time?
So
No. I mean, I guess
So
maybe.
essentially, it gets reverse swept, guys.
I predicted them to
How it
3-0 Imperial Knights, and guess what happened?
True.
Well, true.
Yeah, I just have a lot of faith in Tea Time's drafting ability to be able to do that. But if it does somehow end up in a Game 5 situation, Tea Time will be asleep, and Original will win.
Is that what you're basing?
That's what
on?
happened against Akuma Blades last split, so...
Oh, did they really?
Yes,
Oh,
that's exactly
no.
what happened against Akuma
Yeah.
Blades. They
Sorry,
reverse swept
guys.
them.
Oh, no.
If it was a best of 3, then Essentia Storm would have been the champions.
What?
Maybe.
What a tragedy. How
Yeah.
possibly?
Anyway, that's our take. I guess we're all aligned there. Essentia versus Original. And that's going to be on Friday as well. So be sure to tune into that one.
If you miss any matches, that's the one you should miss.
No. On the contrary, Malstixy.
Okay.
If you watch any of the co-streams, that's the one to watch.
True. Yeah. I agree.
You'll probably hear some more hardcore analysis from us from that series.
In case you can't tell, we're pretty low on these two
understand why they called me Malstixy sometimes.
Yep. But yeah, that's gonna be a fun one. Like I said, we're gonna be doing that for all of the matches, so be sure to tune in for those. But yeah, any final thoughts here on the quarterfinals matches, guys, before we get into questions?
If I see any more bad drafting where the game's just over in draft, I'm gonna leave.
You can't leave. He's not gonna leave, guys. He's just kidding. He's not gonna leave.
No, I'm actually not.
I'm excited for this week. I think this week will provide better quality games. I am hoping.
I just don't want to see
crossed. Yeah, I want an entertaining series. I'm actually a little surprised. Actually, maybe not surprised that OTA Aether went to 5 games and not any of the other ones. Or at least
that was going to be the closest one based on matchup, anyways.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah. I'm hoping for a lot more competitive series.
Me too. I think we're gonna get it too. I think we're in that stretch of the tournament where most, if not all, of the matches from here on out are gonna be that. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped for it. But with that, let's move on to the questions. We've got 3 of them, and then we've got a little bit of time. We can touch on a little bit of our hopes and dreams for the next patch. So anyway, with that, let's get to the first question from Bad Boy Bway. He asks, after watching round 1, has anyone looked so shaky that they don't keep the same as their same power rankings? And I personally am going to stick to my same power rankings throughout the entire split, like the entire playoffs. I think that I made those with like all of the matches in mind, and essentially like I ordered it in a way where like I think that this team would lose to this, and like it's that order there. Like I think between the tiers for mine in particular, I think that those ones are going to be really close matchups. But other than that, yeah, I think I'm gonna stick to it. The only major thing that I am like really kind of doubting myself on is like putting Akuma Saiz in 3rd. I think maybe a bit high. Or okay, actually, excuse me. Not putting the 3rd. Putting that whole row in A tier, and not just pushing everyone down and leaving Akuma Katanas in S tier and just having no one in A tier. I think that might be the only change that I would make, is putting a tier between S and A and just putting that down. But I wouldn't change any positions, I think.
So assuming like we're just talking about Smax's list because we don't have our list.
Right.
Because it was Smax only. I don't have mine anymore. the thing for me, I think Slice goes lower. They had a relatively shaky 3-0 against Jet Black, which is who we thought was the fourth worst team. And as I think Aether definitely moves down, but I think that's to be expected when you lose a player.
Yep.
So that's the only time
worth
you
noting that just based on my power rankings, there haven't been any upsets yet.
Ooh,
Big brain.
really?
Yeah, no
Big brain,
upsets
big brain.
on my power rankings quite yet. Yeah, and I've been pretty dead on about which series are going to look significantly worse than the others as well. So.
The only thing I could do to my list is I would move Imperial Knights even further down after watching them play.
I had them in the sole possession of D tier, and they were in last. So,
Yep,
pretty
so
big
did I.
brain, brain of me
like,
right there. Not gonna lie.
Like they didn't have to play the game. Like they just played Pro Draft Simulator.
Yeah,
and they
exactly.
Lost.
So
Like,
I actually
At least C tier can play League of Legends.
So for my tier list, I didn't put them on like how like what ranking there'd be like from first to like whatever. I just rated like the overall how I feel the strengths of the teams were.
Yeah.
Yours and mine are more or less in alignment, except I put Akuma Sides in the B tier and Ascension Storm in the A tier. And then I also put Original in the B tier instead of C tier for you.
That's so high for Original.
Whether yeah, that might have been a little high.
I have been everyone knows this if you're listening at this point, you already know. I am definitely the biggest Original hater in the league. As far as how strong I think they are. I think, like I said before, I think those guys are really great, and I like them a lot. And I've been talking to them for a bit too, because they were in the last split as well. I like those guys quite a bit. But when you play 14 games and you win all of them playing the exact same champions, I lose quite a bit of respect. And so that's why I have them very low, and I think it's gonna reign true as well. As just looking at my power rankings, I think you guys pretty clearly agree that Essentia is just going to stomp them. So.
Yeah, I think. God, Essentia's getting the freest. Essentia's getting the freest rides at semis.
To be fair, they did go 12-2, so
yeah,
they get the
in
bye.
a division with 3 teams who got disqualified or left the league.
Okay, that's
with Imperial Knights getting 3rd place.
Okay, hold on.
Smax.
That's a valid complaint about any team except Essentia, because Essentia actually beat all 3 of those teams. Okay, not Virginia, but Virginia didn't actually play anything.
In the second round robin, do you mean?
In the first round robin, Essentia beat Charlotte Phoenix. That was the only team that beat them before they got kicked out. And Essentia beat LC Avengers both times.
Okay.
Before they got kicked out. So, actually, Essentia, you can't say that about. However, you can say that they're worse than Soulbound because Soulbound did 2-0 them.
Yes.
That you can say.
True.
Which I did say. And I am going to remain with. But anyway, yeah, long story short, I'm not going to change anything. Like I said, I would just put a bigger gap between the A tier and the S tier. It's pretty clear to me that Akuma Katana is just way better than everyone at this point. Which I already thought, but after seeing how shaky OTAG and Scythes were, and I still do think that those teams are better than the others that are not Katanas. I still do think that. I would just put the gap bigger in that way. So
the gap widens.
Yeah, if by the way any upsets do happen, I'll make an updated power ranking based on like how it actually did play out. I'll make that and I'll put it in the final episode of the split. I think that'd be pretty cool. Anyway, do you guys have anything else to say about that?
No, I don't think I would change
really.
my personal power rankings. I think mine are all right. Like given I haven't seen we haven't seen any of the first place teams. Or I guess it's just after round 1. Never mind, I'm trolling.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next question. AKM June asks, must ban champs in phase 1 for the Akuma Katanas? To which I say, yes.
Rengar,
and Rengar.
Rengar, Yumi.
Yep.
and
Probably Lee Sin.
maybe Olaf or Lee Sin
I think if you ban Yumi, you're also banning Olaf.
or
Kind of.
Aatrox actually.
I think it's the same way. I think if you're banning Yumi, you're also kind of banning Aatrox. Less so for those champions, but
Definitely, you definitely need those two bans. You definitely need
Yeah.
Rengar, Yumi. I would
Rengar,
personally. Those are the must ban. I think because that's the question, right? Those are the must ban.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the two. All right.
I think your third ban it just goes whatever.
Yeah, you can flex it depending on what your team is.
Maybe what you don't want coronavirus.
Yeah.
Blood maybe or something.
Which top laner do you not want to lose to today?
Yep.
You're still gonna lose, but you get to pick your poison.
Yep.
All right, and then we got one more question here. AKM Forbidden asks closest / most anticipated quarterfinal matchup, and we were getting at a little bit. I think we all agree that some of these are going to be pretty close. I am going to retain my my answer of Go Next versus Akuma Scythes. I think that one's going to be the closest one. Yeah.
I think that one's going to be mine as well, but a close second is definitely LCG versus Soulbound.
Yeah, I don't think you can make an argument for the other two.
Yeah. I think I mentioned it before, but I think
if you're making an argument for OTAG and Katana or if Essentia is even in your top 3 most anticipated matches, you're just wrong, man.
Again, that's going to be the one to watch for the behind the scenes. So be sure to tune in for that.
I think it's gonna be Akuma Scythes go next as well. I'm pretty hyped. I think that just on paper, seeing those two teams face off against each other, it's a pretty hype. And I think there'll be a lot of hype surrounding it. So.
All right, cool. You guys are not going to want to miss that one. That one is going to happen Sunday at 7 Eastern Time. And that is Sunday the 15th. So be sure to tune in for that one. That one's going to be pretty good. If you want to just look at my power rankings and decide, then Saturday the 14th is technically my finals. So be sure to watch that one and make fun of me for rating OTAG that high. Again, if I could change anything, I would make the gap bigger between Akuma, Katanas, and everyone else. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, that's it for the questions that were asked for us here that are not troll questions. We do see you, Elvis, and we're choosing to ignore you. Let's just talk about the patch a little bit.
Actually, I don't see Elvis.
Yeah, of course. Elvis who?
Elvis who?
Let's get into the patch just a little bit. We're, of course, referring to the patch 10.6 that will be here for the semifinals. That will not be in effect for quarters. Semifinals and finals will be played on this patch. And Coronavirus buffs are in effect. We're talking about Death's Dance. And this item
named for our resident top laner.
Death's Dance is going to be the best item in the entire game.
Yes.
No question. It's going to have the most users. It's going to be the best on those users, and it's going to make those users the best in their role.
Imagine thinking that you could play tank champions, you silly top laners.
XD. So, what are we talking about? Death's Dance, as we know it, right, it builds out of Caulfield's Warhammer, Pickaxe, and a Vamp Scepter. It has 80 attack damage, 10% CDR, and 15% lifesteal on everything that you hit with, whether it's magic, physical, or true damage, spells, auto attacks, anything, onto enemies that are not turrets or something of that nature. No structures. We know what Death's Dance is, obviously.
Yep.
What are they changing for Death's Dance? It no longer builds out of a pickaxe. They're removing the pickaxe and putting an Aegis in. So you're getting better pieces for it, because Aegis also builds out of no magic mantle and cloak, and it costs more than the pickaxe as well, which means the combined cost for Death's Dance is even lower than it was before. It's already pretty low. It's going to be even lower.
They could make Death's Dance worth 4,000 gold, and it would still be a broken item.
It would still be good, because The compensation for doing that is they are knocking 20 AD off of it. It already had 80, mind you, which is the most of any item, tied with Infinity Edge. And it's down to 60, which I believe is the same as Black Cleaver. And they're adding 30 of each resistance.
Smile. On top of already getting 15% reduced damage.
Yep. No other changes.
Oh, Black Cleaver has 50 attack damage.
Oh, so it's
So,
more
like,
than Black Cleaver.
More than Black Cleaver.
Hey, nice. So
Better item, by the way.
So if that already didn't sell you on it, let me just remind you that the bruiser items in the game, those being Black Cleaver, pre-buff Death Stance, because this is a buff, and what's it? Triforce.
Now buffed Bork.
And Bork. So all those 4 items, there's one thing that all of them have in common, and those are the stats that those lack. Those are ability power, which doesn't matter, and resistances. Guess what champions are now receiving a free 30 of each resistance on items that they were already building? Those are
Fiora,
Aatrox, Fiora,
Jax.
Irelia, Jax, all of these bruiser champions that you were already seeing in your games and already seeing in pro
Camille.
play. The big one obviously being Set.
Yeah.
Set gets resistances now. That's going to be pretty nice for those champions.
I'm actually pretty sure that now that it's getting an armor next patch, I think that Death Stance is going to be a better second item on Set than Sterix Gauge.
Yep. It already
Yeah,
was
I can agree.
debatably so. It's already the best second item on Aatrox, by the way, before this buff. And
Yep.
now it's even better.
I still don't think it'll be first item. I still don't think it'll be the best item because Black Cleaver is so
No,
good.
Black Cleaver's really good.
I can see you because I know a lot of Aatroxes go Kindle Gem Caulfields, right, for the
Yes.
cooldown reduction. I can actually see Aatroxes going Caulfields, Kindle Gem into a Death Dance rush, then finishing Black Cleaver.
Probably, if they need the resistances, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Because
I can
you
see
can just
that.
sit
I
on
can
a
see
cloth armor. You could sit on 2 cloth armors now into hard matchups because one goes into Tabby, one goes into Death Dance for some reason.
Yep.
Why is Aatrox able to sit on 2 cloth armors and just not be trolling with his itemization? That's so stupid. Okay, well, it's coming through. It's happening in 10.6. That's going to happen. So let me give you some examples of other champions that were already building this item before we get to the champions that are going to be building this item. Champions that were already building this. Katarina. She gets resistances now.
True.
Late game Misfortune built this. She's going to continue doing so. You're just gonna do that. You can sit on resistances now and have it build into a core item late game. That's so stupid. I don't think they're thinking this through. This is a very bad change for the feng shui of these champions. It's gonna be completely thrown off.
League of Legends balance team.
Yep.
Smile.
Let's move over to champions that are now going to be building this in every match. Every AD carry. All of them.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna see more like lifesteal-esque builds.
Yeah.
Like I think like people were already saying like, man, like healing is already so good in League of Legends
It's
right now.
so good.
But imagine every AD carry just now building Bloodthirster and Death Stance.
Yep. It's
Like that,
pretty
like
nuts.
plus overheal.
Yeah.
You're getting a 500 HP shield with magic resistant armor, and it's plus 15% reduced damage.
Here's
Like,
one.
Riot.
Here's one that's pretty insane. So picture this. You are playing Swain. You have your Rod of Ages first, and then you get not Leandries. Yes, Leandries. You have Rod of Ages and Leandries, and then you get a Death Dance. Okay, the AD, you get 60 AD.
Might be.
Who cares? You get 10% cooldown reduction, you get the lifesteal aspect, you get damage reduction, and you get 30 of each resistance. Why would you not do that? That item is good enough that the AD doesn't matter. You're gonna. Why wouldn't you build that on Swain? Right?
Yeah.
Because you already have enough damage with Rod of Ages and Leandries. That you don't need it for the damage. You just have it as a defensive
Swain,
item.
though, he's in a pretty weird spot. The way
Swain's
he
really
kinda,
weird. But
he does.
that's
he,
only one
he
example.
Kinda,
What about Cassio?
I don't even want to think about this anymore.
yeah, dude. I
What-
really hope no
What about
one
Cassidon?
outside
Cassidon does use the AD.
I really hope no one outside of the already OP bruisers that just got a Bork buff use
Yeah.
it. I can't go into the theory crafting. I imagine there's going to be a lot
Yeah,
of
we
theory
didn't even get into junglers. We've got Hecarim,
Lee Sin.
Lee Sin.
Lee Sin was already building it situationally. Holy shit, it's actually going to be his best third item, by the way.
Yep.
Right after Black Cleaver and Warrior. Holy shit.
We've also
Lee
got
Sin buffs,
we've
boys.
got Darius
My
in the
brain
top
hurts.
lane too. We've
No,
got
not Darius.
And now also in the jungle.
yeah. Speaking of jungler, Hecarim is getting buffed too, which is fun. They're buffing a
I mean,
ton of
that
late game
doesn't, it
champions.
doesn't.
I don't know what
The
they're
extra
really doing with that.
They're buffing the fear duration based on distance. So it from
It means
1.5
absolutely
seconds
nothing.
goes from 1.5 seconds if you hit them at the max of it to 2 seconds.
No one's playing tank
No.
Hecarim, by the way, right now. So
I mean, I guess 0.5 seconds is something, but nothing huge.
So yeah, expect to see Death Dance, probably at least 7 of them per game. Because that item is just there's no reason not to build it.
I can
On like every
see-
champion.
I can see the tilt in my solo queue games already.
If your game goes to 40 plus minutes, there's going to be 7 Death Dance. That's just going to happen. Like whether or not your champion builds it like early in your first 2 items, you probably won't adjust to it if you didn't build it before. Maybe you do. Like Draven probably does. Draven builds that instead of Bloodthirster now. So that's something to think about if your champion did that before. Like maybe Kindred. She built Bork as her second item a lot of the time. You can just switch that to Death Dance. That's pretty good. So you can think about that
those
kind of thing.
champions are
Yeah.
getting buffed.
Also,
by
they're
the
both
way.
getting buffed. I didn't even think about that. What are they buffing about Kindred? Oh, her AD per level is going up.
Kindred 80
Oh.
per level. W missing health restored is
That's cool.
higher early, and she has more of a heal on her R later in the game.
That's cool. All right.
So and then Draven is just getting I think 10% flat.
Yeah. Now all
movement
this
speed
all this is
buff on his
PBE.
W.
All this is PBE. There's just like the minor buffs and stuff. It might change, but I don't think the Death Dance is going to change. The other thing that I don't think is going to change, which I think is going to be the last thing we talk about here, is the teleport change. They are saying that this is a buff. It isn't.
Alright, so we were talking about Hashinshin earlier, right? So imagine you get Hashinshin, okay? You Hashinshin yourself.
Yep.
Right? You die to the jungler early, get your flash blown in the process, teleport back to lane. Lo and behold, the enemy jungler is there.
Yeah.
This change to teleport, given that you already have to blow TP earlier than you would want to, is even worse because now you have to wait even longer
You have to wait
for a
8
teleport
minutes.
to come back.
And it's not
And it-
just that. It scales on level. So when your opposing laner doesn't have to use it and you do, they can get levels on you, and then their TP will come up at the same time as yours because it gets decreased by the levels.
Right, but just in general, if you ever get first blooded in lane by like a Darius or whatever,
When you have
at
TP.
level 1, your TP is an 8-minute cooldown.
Your game is actually over.
It's over.
It's already over if you die TPing back to lane. It's worse now.
It's even worse. This change is pretty
This changed a
devastating.
lot.
And
to teleport.
especially if you're always behind in the game, they will always have a sooner teleport cooldown than you
Yep.
will.
They really, really want you to run Ignite in top lane,
Oh
don't
my
you?
gosh.
They
dude, I
really
think
want that to happen.
I think top laners will just stop running teleport
You have to run Ignite because everyone's running Death Dance and teleport is bad.
or
Yeah.
exhaust.
I think you need Ignite for the heal reduction
Um,
because everyone's
I mean,
going to be
you can just buy
running.
an 800 gold item. You can just buy an 800 item.
So we were talking about it before as well, but what beats a bruiser with like Irelia or something with Blade of the Ring King, Death Dance, Spirit Visage, what do?
Literally nothing.
You need to
I think
you
it's
need to literally be Kled or you die.
no amount of healing reduction in the world is going to save you from
Except Kled, because he's got 60%. That's a valid
even
one.
even then. I mean, okay,
I
yeah,
just don't
60%
understand what
is a
Riot's
lot,
doing with their game.
but
I'm just gonna leave.
I don't know.
yeah,
Well, yeah,
they
Quit the
we're
game. This game's over.
they either need to scuff these changes or they need to add a huge buff to Grievous Wounds next patch because
Yeah.
this is going to be ridiculous.
you know it. You know it's
already
bad.
could argue for Grievous wound buffs though beforehand.
Yeah.
But like it's going to be even worse.
You know what I
It's
can
pretty
see
nuts.
happening too? I can see day one hotfix on Death Dance.
Yeah, you already. I can too. Yes, you already know that this change is ridiculous when they are unironically buffing Teemo jungle in the same patch, and we didn't even mention it.
And guess what? Teemo can probably build that stance too.
You know what's funny though? Brand. Okay, wait. Real quick about those. Brand, Zyra, and Morgana could all jungle before him.
They couldn't gank though. They still can't.
I mean, yeah, they still can't though. Like, but clearing the jungle faster is like valuable to a certain extent. Like,
Yeah.
hey,
Big
man, I'll
Pog.
pull out the Morgana jungle. You'll see.
Well,
Big
yeah, we'll have to
Pog.
see. But yeah,
Show me the Malstixy Morgana special.
on the Teemo jungle note, we're gonna close it out here. Thanks for listening to the SmaxTalk podcast. Be sure to tune in this weekend, Thursday through Sunday, for the quarterfinals. We got 4 best-of-5 matches yet again for you guys to partake in. And like we mentioned, there's also going to be the co-stream on my channel, twitch.tv/Phoenix Rising League TV for the quarterfinals, twitch.tv/LawSmax for the co-stream. And you can also watch them both at the same time if you'd like. You get both aspects of it. If you prefer one thing or over the other or whatnot, or if like we are like taking a food break or something, you can tune into them too. You can show support to both channels if you would prefer it. So yeah, be sure to tune in regardless here because these matches are going to be pretty incredible. And yeah, whoever wins them obviously does go to the semis, and we're going to have another episode next week as well. There's a condition: if Soulbound Tsunami wins their quarterfinal match, you better get excited because Elvis himself is going to be on the podcast. So yeah.
Why would I be excited about losing my spot on the podcast?
Well, maybe you won't
Possibly
be
losing
excited.
my spot on the
But yeah, if Soulbound loses, then it's gonna be Malstixy and Insekiro again. So, yeah, if you want to hear Elvis, then you better cheer for Soulbound. So yeah. But with that, we're gonna close it out. Thanks for listening in.
Let's go, Soulbound.
Yeah. Do you guys have any shout outs or anything you want to give before I close it?
I want to shout out you, Smax and Malstixy. You guys are awesome to be on the podcast with. You guys are awesome people. Thank you for having me on the podcast as well. I appreciate it a lot.
I hate you, Insekiro.
I hate myself too. So you know that's one thing in common.
Well, that was wholesome.
That was.
And then it
Thanks,
was.
Thanks, Malstixy. No, Malstixy made it wholesome.
All right. Well, shout out to Kuma Canes.
Kumacades.
Coming to a league near you.
Coming to the Naughty Rift.
Yeah. You guys better watch out for that one, man.
Oh,
but yeah,
baby.
thanks for listening
Spicy.
into the SmaxTalk podcast. Be sure to tune into the games and the next episode next week as well. It's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for listening in, and we'll see y'all next time on the SmaxTalk podcast. Bye.
See ya.